Hello, everyone. Shannon here at Exact Contact. Thank you so much for tuning in today, morning or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome. Happy to chat with you. And we've got quite a bit to cover today. So I'm going to jump in fairly quickly. And of course, I'll just pop up my contact details here. If there's anything after that you wanted more coverage on, please do reach out and let me know. The info@exactcontact.com is the best way to get a hold of myself or the rest of the sales team. And of course, your support team details I'll provide towards the end of the meeting today. While you're on the line, I see a couple of you. Liz, hi. You've already asked a question in the Q&A. There is a questions box in that dashboard panel. Feel free to pop any questions in there as we go along. I do have Vicky, Sean, and Julio all joining us to answer your questions as quickly as possible. But of course, on screen, I will be going through the questions that you asked for assistance with when you registered for the webinar. So, a couple of things we want to touch on is why your CRM is cornerstone to your success in real estate sales, how it's going to build up your business, right? How you're going to get more business by using your real estate CRM, because it's going to help you stay top of mind, right, with your prospects, past clients, important referral sources. And if there's certain things you haven't set up yet, or if there's features in Exact that you're not using yet, or you just want more information on those, that's what we're going to go through today. So you asked, and we're going to do our best to get through this very long list of items today, and spend as much time as we can on each of them, so that you have the details of exactly what you need to be doing, to help grow your business with your real estate CRM and get the most out of it. So when you registered for the webinar, there was a question on that registration form that said, what do you need help with? What do you want to know more about? And this is the list that we came up with, just by narrowing that down. If you don't see your exact question here, what I did was I did sort of have to generalize into some categories that I could highlight for you. But we're going to start at the top and dig in as far as we can here. I'm not covering websites today. Website is almost its own separate topic. So if you were hoping for assistance with your website, my suggestion is simply, is stay on the webinar. You're going to learn something about the CRM and things that you can be doing there, in terms of leads and being able to follow up quickly. But give our support team a ring and ask them for assistance with your website questions specifically. We may do a future webinar on websites more specifically, but it's just with all the features, as you can see, for CRM, there's just not enough bandwidth in a webinar to get into that side of the system today. So I'm going to jump right into the first item here, getting set up. I know some of you are new with the system and looking for just ways to get started and what you should do first. The first thing is really to get your contacts in the system. If you've received a call from any of our team, the welcome call, just reminding you, here's how to get started and here's the first thing to do. We do always recommend that getting your contacts into the system is that first item on your list. And it's because so much of the system obviously is reliant on there being contact data in the system, so that you have the ability to then work with those contacts and follow up with them collectively. And organizing them means getting categories in place and then using things like the advanced search and list view to be able to work those categories better. So if I pop over into the CRM, we're here. And most of you are familiar with this dashboard view. Your Keep in Touch coach will look different because it'll have different people here at the top, but contact list down the right and menu items down the left. When you get your contact list into the system, really that's sort of step one. And getting your contact list in can be done in several different ways. If all of your contacts are in Google, we can sync with your Google contact list. That makes it pretty seamless. It does sync all of your contacts, so keep that in mind. And I've heard this from several agents. If there are, let me just turn that off for now. If there are contacts in your Google contacts that you don't want in your CRM, then you may want to clean up that list, or you may want to export from Google. Like you want to keep the contact in Google, but you don't want it in your CRM, then maybe, sort of skip the sync for now, export your contacts from Google, and we'll upload that file for you. Essentially, Anywhere that you have a database, a list of contacts, you can export that list into an Excel spreadsheet file. If you don't know where the magic button is, call support for wherever it's held right now, or our support team may be able to guide you in the right direction for the magic button that creates that export file. Once you have the spreadsheet file, you can email that to support. And the support email address, by the way, is always at the very bottom of the screen. So no matter what window you're working on, the dashboard's long, but other screens are much shorter. You have the support contact phone number and email address on your screen. So support is where you would send your contact file. Support will import that for you. So making it pretty seamless and easy to get set up in the system. They'll import that file for you right into the system. And if you are coming out of another CRM, Top Producer, or Buffini, any of the other systems, you should already have categories in place, and we would import those as typically contact groups. So any of your current buckets or categories or tags, whatever they're called in your CRM, we would map those typically over to exact contact groups. And then once the contacts are in the system, there's so much that can be done just to get them organized and then work with subsets of your list, right? And that's sort of the purpose of really digging into the CRM. Is it's not just a list. It's got subcategories, it has specifics for each type of contact and how you're going to be following up with them. And getting those things in place right away just makes it that much easier to then target who you're phoning, who you're sending emails to, so that it's appropriate for that type of contact. So for instance, you're going to send something different to your buyers perhaps than you would send to your sellers. The contacts that we're looking at here in the Keep in Touch Coach, I'll get into the Keep in Touch Coach in a moment, but you'll notice there's a status, there's a type, and then there's multiple groups. And these are searchable either one at a time or in combination. So you might search for all your hot prospect buyers and no groups, or you might just search for everybody in your database that's just in your A list, or you might search for your A list buyer hot prospects. And you do that using the search button. So this is what we call our advanced search or enhanced search. And you have the ability now to search and filter based on multiple contact groups and types. I'm going to search just on my A list for today, but I'll just make note that you can search by date criteria. If you're looking at contacts that have been added since a certain time, or if you want to search, by the last time you entered a note, because this happens, right? We were like, oh my God, I made a note on this person and I can't remember what their name is for the life of me. So I'm just going to pull up everybody who I made a note for yesterday, and that'll jog my memory. So, just ways that date criteria can be used. Original source is also a criteria. So you could search for perhaps all your referrals. You could search for all of your open house contacts, just examples. Groups and original source are all completely organic. So you can choose as many different contact groups that are specific to your business as you need. Same thing with the original source. So we give you a sort of a list, a sub list to get started, but you can add and change that list as needed for your business. You also can search on notes, on active business. This would be listings and buying preferences. You can search based on their addresses. You can search even on missing information. So if you've uploaded a list of contacts and you're not sure you have everyone's email address, you can actually search based on anybody with a missing email address. So just making it easy to really get into your list and make sure that you have all of the details necessary for it to be a really viable, profitable list going forward. Again, I'm just searching for my A list today for the purpose of showing you how the contact list works. Once I'm in list view, I can now work with multiple contacts by checking off one or more or all of the contacts in the list. And now you have the ability to work en masse. So this is something that some of you may have done already, especially when you're first getting started in the system. If you didn't have statuses set up, everybody shows up in unassigned or new unqualified. And you may want to just use your groups to mass assign to an appropriate status, right? So if you had contact groups and everybody's a past client, then you might just regroup these into the status past client. So just examples of how that works for first initially setting up your business. If you wanted to use this as your follow-up list, then you can simply click on the name, one of the names in the list, and you'll notice at the bottom of my screen, I now have a next and return to list button. So I could make a phone call, enter a note, log my phone call, whatever my note is, save it, even log a quick task, and then easily move on to the next person in the list. So just ways that the system makes that easy for you. This also works, if you're trying to update and edit contacts. If you're looking at your list and going, ooh, I'm not sure who those people are, I need to review them in a little more detail. This is a quick and easy way to do that because you can pull up the whole contact record and go, oh yeah, I know who that person is. And then just, change their status to what's appropriate and move to the next one. So you're still doing it contact by contact, but this makes it simpler and easier than trying to use the contact list, sort of this control panel list down the side here. So just ways to help you get organized in that in the system. Now I see some of you asking questions about contact list, and before I move on, I'll just see if there's something I can answer. And I think my team has answered. Can we sync with iCloud Contacts? You can't sync directly with your iCloud contacts. You would export from iCloud into a CSV file or your vCard file, and then our team will convert it to a CSV file to import it. We do, however, have the ability that after you've imported those contacts, we can sync with your wireless device. So there is a wireless sync to keep it in sync going forward. But for any phone level contacts, you would do the import first, and then we would sync. So it is possible to sync. You still have to do the import initially. I have some people asking if you don't have addresses, you just have the name, email, and phone number, and that's okay, right? As you connect with these people, as they respond to your emails, as you talk to them on the phone, right? If they become a buyer or seller, you're going to learn that additional information about them. So they are things that you're going to learn in time and can always update the contact list appropriately to match with that. So as you can see here, you can edit at any time and add in any information that's missing initially, right? So you can always create and edit and change this. And then I have some questions about click-throughs for mass emailings. Andrew, we will get to that in a moment. So it is easy to see the click-throughs for your mass emailing, but I'll get there in a moment so that we're going to go through sort of systematically from getting your contacts in, getting them organized. That's where we're at the moment, and then I want to move back to the next item. So we've used the advanced search, the list view, showed a little bit of the power there. And then I want to go back and talk about that Keep in Touch coach. So some of you had asked when you registered for the webinar about how to use a list to have a daily call list. Who do I follow up with daily? How does the system tell me that? And that's the Keep in Touch coach. That's really what the Keep in Touch coach is set up to do. We're looking at just hot prospects today, but you could look at everybody, right? All of your scheduled follow-ups. What the Keep in Touch coach does is it reminds you automatically who to follow up with, and it reminds you systematically at the right time. It does that based on the business pipeline status. So that's why the first step is getting your contacts in and then getting them organized. Status is key because the Keep in Touch coach uses the status. If I show you the settings here, and some of you again have probably seen this, the status coordinates with the frequency of how often you want to follow up. So we give you some default frequencies here associated with the different statuses. You can customize these. So think about your business, and if a long-term prospect is someone that's buying or selling 6+ months from now, or is it 3+ months from now, right? And then how often should you be connecting with them in the meantime to make sure that you're the agent that they move ahead with when they're ready? Because it's the most frustrating feeling as a salesperson. And again, this is not just real estate. This is salespeople in general. We're really good at what's right in front of us, right? Our hot prospects, our current clients. I'm buying or selling right now or next week, or maybe even next month. But much further out than that, there's so much else going on right in front of us that the people that are a little further out sometimes fall through the cracks. And there's nothing more frustrating than calling that prospect and having them say, "Oh yeah, I already bought a house, or we already listed it." Like, what? No, but why? With who? and it's not you, right? Isn't that a frustrating feeling? And I know it's happened to some of us. I know it's happened to a lot of us. So having these reminders at the appropriate interval just gives them that little tickler. It's top of mind, right? Because here's the thing, even if they talked to you 6 months ago and you had a great, you felt like you build great rapport on that call, if 6 months later you've not connected with them at all and they reach out, they do a little search online and the first realtor that calls them back builds that great rapport again and they're ready right now, they're going with that realtor. So it is about building the rapport initially, but then just feeding them little trickle information, touching base. Hey, I thought of this and I thought of you and just wanted to pass it along. Whatever you're doing is that long-term follow-up, right? Hot prospects, current clients, we're better at that as salespeople. It's human nature, right? We're focused on what's right in front of us. So keep in touch coach makes sure that everybody pops up at the right time. And you can set frequency of reminder for all of the different statuses in the business pipeline. Some of them we've turned off, things like current client, past clients that have active opportunities. Those would be clients that are repeat business. We sort of make you can kind of make the assumption that if they're a current client, you don't need a little tickler in the keep in touch coach to call them, but you may want to turn it on. So it's really up to you, and just editing that how it makes sense for your business. And then what the keep in touch coach does is on a rolling basis, it will show you this contact is due or overdue for follow-up. And it even shows you what your last note was, right? If you had a last prospecting activity that you'd log, so you know that exactly what the last conversation or communication was. When you log a prospecting update, and again, this is just like similar to logging a note, whether it's a phone call, a note, text message, and so on, you make your note, and when you save it, the system automatically reschedules this reminder based on the frequency for their status. So if it's a long-term prospect, the next reminder is going to pop in 60 days. If it's a hot prospect, they're going to show up in 7 days. Those of you that have been an Exact Contact customer for a while, if you're looking at your dashboard and going, Shannon, I don't have a keep in touch coach, what the heck are you talking about? Go to your user profile up here in the top right corner, and you will find keep in touch in the tabs, and you can turn on your keep in touch coach. It is a newer feature. So if you were a customer sort of pre-December 2018, you may or may not have the keep in touch coach turned on, but it is there. You just have to activate it. And then you can, of course, change your statuses and things here. So again, if you're looking for that keep in touch coach, user profile, keep in touch tab, and turn it on. It essentially replaces the old recurring keep in touch call reminders. The challenge with keep in touch call reminders is, although they're a great idea, we need them, but the problem with it is if you had a recurring reminder on a weekly basis, say every Tuesday, to call Chris Cada, your hot prospect, what happens if you talk to him on Monday or Thursday or Saturday or all of the above? You're still going to get the reminder on Tuesday and you're going to ignore it. And the problem with ignoring something once is it becomes a habit the next time. Oh yeah, I already talked to Chris. I don't need that reminder, right? And we just start ignoring the reminders. Whereas the keep in touch coach reminds you at the right time because it's not popping up in between. If you were to log a call with Chris, like say you talked to him on Tuesday and you also talked to him on Saturday, every time you log a call, the keep in touch coach resets the next time they pop up in the keep in touch coach for that 7-day interval. So, they may not show up ever in the keep in touch coach because you're consistently logging your prospecting updates, and that's okay. But it means that if you hit the 7 days and you haven't logged something or you haven't spoken to them, they're going to show up. So nobody ever falls through the cracks again. And I'm talking hot prospects, but really, long-term prospects, this is even more key for. So just making sure that you're not losing out on those leads, those that you worked so hard to get that contact in the first place. We've got to work just as hard then to stay in touch with them so that ultimately you're getting the business, and that's what's going to help your business grow. It's not just about filling your database with contacts. It's about then working those contacts so that you're the realtor that they come back to, even if it is 3 months, 6 months, a year, even more down the road. So I think some of those questions, just in terms of getting the keep in touch coach set up, I think I've answered most of those that I'm seeing in the list here at the moment. People that don't have the keep in touch coach, etc. Yeah. So I think I've answered all your questions, or the team has. Again, if you're not sure about anything that we're talking about today, give us a call afterwards, whether it's our sales team or our support team. Everybody's really well versed in the system. So, again, keep in touch, coach. Keeps you organized, keeps you top of mind, and it's just going to help you. It's not just about growing the numbers of the people in your list. It's about growing the numbers on the bottom line of what you're earning, and you can only do that by growing the numbers of what you're putting into your database. But they're worth so much more if we just stay in touch and top of mind with them a little bit better. And with things like the Keep in Touch coach doing that automatically for you, just makes it that much easier. Some of you had asked about, whoops, let me go back to my slide here. Just about the birthday and move-in anniversary reminders, other things that are automatic in the system that you can set and forget. And so Keep in Touch coach is one, right? You're still gonna log the activity with the Keep in Touch coach, but the reminders happen automatically. The birthday and move-in anniversary reminders and now automated email cards is also a key follow-up item. And you'll find that in Keep in Touch on the left-hand menu. So again, birthdays, move-in anniversaries, great personal dates to follow up on. And so birthdays, everybody remembers their own birthday for the most part, I hope. And we like being wished happy birthday, right? It's a nice feeling. We were, sort of ingrained in us to like being wished happy birthday. Move-in anniversaries are just as personal, but they're a date that your past client has probably forgotten about. And it was pointed out to me actually in a couple of presentations I did earlier this week, that often when you sell a house, you have the buyer contact information, and now you know their move-in date. Why not put them in your list? Follow up with them on their move-in date to that house that you were the seller, the listing agent on. Why not? Why? Why? Because they're the agent that they used to buy the house probably didn't follow up. And so now you're the agent that's following up and staying top of mind. So just interesting ways with your own past clients, with really any buyers that you come in contact with when you know their move-in anniversary. It's a great way to touch base and follow up. And the move-in anniversary reminder is automatic. So you check off, yes, I want it in my calendar. Do I want a calendar reminder? Yeah, you know what, I'm going to send, I want a reminder a day before from my calendar. That part's easy. Do I want a task? And the reason to send yourself a task reminder, right, and difference again between task list and calendar, the reason to send yourself a task reminder would be to have this pop up, maybe 5, maybe 7 days before the actual day. So if you wanted to put something in the mail, right, if you want to go to Shoppers Drug Mart, or you want to go, to the mall, to Hallmark, and buy a card and put it in the mail, you have the ability to do that, or a follow up, something a little more personal and active. Super easy to do that. I want the reminder on that 7 days before. I like my reminders, sort of bright and early in the morning, pop up immediately, and then turn on the activity for everybody in your list. This means everybody in your list right now, these 2 checkboxes, everybody here right now that has a move-in date on their contact record automatically gets put onto these reminders. And anybody going forward that you add a move-in date to automatically gets put onto these reminders. If you add a brand new contact and you put in a move-in date and save it, the system automatically creates the reminder. So you don't have to go and create these recurring calendar reminders. The system does it for you. You also can automatically have the system send an email greeting on this special day. So we've created the greeting cards for you. You just have to choose which one you want to send. It'll have your email signature at the bottom here. If you want to edit this message before sending, you would do that in the mass email section of the system. You just go and find the template and save your version of it, and then the system will do the rest. It's going to automatically create reminders going forward for any new move-in anniversaries you add to the system. And if you add anybody new to the system, and it's also going to send them the email greeting. So you get a reminder and the person gets the email greeting. And again, task reminders up to you. If you're going to do something more personal, it's often just a nice touch point, especially with those past clients where may not be following up with as actively, but again, the repeat business or the referrals, again, really frustrating feeling when you follow up with that past client and you find out that they've listed the house that you helped them buy and they didn't list it with you. Like, what the heck? Why? Well, I couldn't find your information. I didn't remember your name. I didn't have your phone number handy. This guy reached out to me sooner. All of those reasons to send things like move-in anniversary greetings and follow up on those key personal dates. It just reminds the person that you're reaching out to that you're the real estate professional that they're happy to be connected with. And when you continue that, they're just that much more likely to come back to you, to recommend their friends, to say good things about you to all of their colleagues and family members that are also looking to buy or sell a home. So just ways to use the move-in anniversary reminder in that way. Birthday reminder settings look virtually identical. Difference being that you would choose the birthday greeting and the system will send that out for the appropriate birthday. It does have the ability to distinguish between the main contact and the spouse birthday and send it to the appropriate email address. So on contact records, if you have both the main contact and their spouse, let me just pop down here to Jessica, you can have an email address for both. So just gives you the ability to have the email address for both the main contact and their spouse. Whoops, don't want to change that. We don't want to be me. We want to be Andrew. There we go. So again, just ways that the system can automate some of those little follow-up items that are actually really big opportunities for you. So again, just opportunities to stay top of mind. It'll ultimately get you more, grow more from your existing list because you're staying top of mind, and whenever somebody thinks of real estate or buying or selling a home, they think of you. So again, if you're looking for that, it's under keep in touch and then birthday and move-in anniversary. And at the very bottom, you'll find the little auto send cards and then can preview the different cards. If you want to find the cards because you want to edit them before you send them, go to mass email, change the category to greeting card, and you'll find all of the greeting cards available in the system. This includes holiday greeting cards as well as the birthday and move-in anniversary cards. So again, you can also send holiday greeting cards to your entire list. We've created a sort of a plethora, nice little library here. And if you want to add something, edit the content, create your own, you can absolutely do that. So mass email and creating the different category. Next item for automation is the monthly e-newsletter. And many of you will have already been doing this, but I do want to highlight it because it's something that if you're not doing it already, it's a great option, a great item. It's one of our most used features in IXACT Contact is the monthly e-newsletter. The e-newsletter is written for you every month. You can customize it as much or as little as you want. We know most of our customers set it and forget it. The content is good. It's strongly written to position you as an expert in all things home ownership. The monthly e-newsletter settings, again, under keep in touch, are to choose which months of the year do you want this to go out on, which day of the month, what time of that day, and do I want a reminder in advance? Now, why would you want a reminder in advance that it's going out? Because you can customize it. And so this is just that little reminder, hey, you've got 5 more days before your e-newsletter goes out. It's going out on the 20th. This is your reminder to make any customizations. The e-newsletter, by the way, is always loaded to your account on the 26th for the coming month. So if you know that you're sending your e-newsletter on the 1st of the month, you do still have about a week at the end of the prior month to make those edits and customizations to your email newsletter. And to customize your e-newsletter, it's under mass email and the monthly e-newsletter tab. So monthly e-newsletter, pulls that subject line over from the default settings in keep in touch. And here's what you'll note to see, email content, customizing the personal message and the articles. You can preview before you do that, and it'll pull your header in as well. And it just allows you to read that message, make sure it looks the way you want it to look. You may want to change an image. You may want to remove an entire article or you may want to add your own content. You can do that by either clicking Customize Personal Message to actually edit that intro paragraph. This is also a great place to include, an image or, a hyperlink, something that you want to make personal. I've seen agents add listings to this. I've seen it, adding to different, just adding different content, whether it's neighborhood data, neighborhood events, things like that, just making it that personal and local. You can also customize the articles. So monthly e-newsletter, edit, exclude, or add. So making it really easy to customize this. I see a couple of questions about e-newsletter. Sabrina, it would be great if the monthly e-newsletter would not go out on major holidays like Easter or Christmas. One way to avoid that, Sabrina, is having the recurring reminder, right? So in your monthly e-newsletter, because if it's going out the second Monday, then it could fall on a holiday. Certain holidays, always fall on a Monday or a Friday. Others like Christmas, could fall midweek, and so on. And if you get the reminder in advance, you can actually say, oh shoot, like if that's going to go out on the 25th, then I'm just going to pop into my monthly e-newsletter settings, right? It's unlikely that it would go out on Christmas because you're typically sending it at the beginning of the month, unless you're purposely sending it at the end of the month. But it could go out, if the first Monday is that Easter weekend and so on, then you may just want to come here and say, auto send day, and I'm just going to edit this for this particular month to delay it a week, right? Or send it midweek instead of sending it on the holiday. So you do always have the ability to adjust the date for the specific month if you know there's a coming holiday, or always make your e-newsletter sort of fall on a day that isn't going to typically fall on a holiday. But it's always a good idea to check, just because some of the holidays do move around depending on the start of the month and so on each year. So just little ways that you can change that and sort of get around it, just by making sure that this auto send day isn't going to fall on whatever particular holiday this month. So Sabrina, I hope that helps. Just being able to just double check the date, make sure it's not going to fall on top of holidays. Michael, you asked about adding a short video to the newsletter. Yes, you can. I would say the best place to add that is in your personal message. Video, when you're adding a video to an email, you're always hyperlinking to that video, meaning the video has to live somewhere online, whether it's YouTube, if you're using BombBomb, it could be saved in BombBomb, it could be in Vimeo or any sort of, if it's embedded in your website, wherever it lives. Video files are always sent as a hyperlink, just because video files are too large to send via email. And so what you would do is either hyperlink some text or insert an image, perhaps a screenshot of the video, and link it to wherever the video is hosted online. So yes, you can absolutely add video to your e-newsletter, just depending on how you want it to appear, whether it's text or more specifically an image. So that's e-newsletter. Now, I know a lot of you had asked when you registered for this webinar just about sending other emails. How do you create emails? How do you send emails from the system? And it's all done through typically mass email. And whether you're creating just a one-off email, whether it's something that you want to save as a template and be able to use again later, you do have the ability to do that. There's a pretty extensive library of emails in IXACT Contacts. So whether you're looking at marketing templates, which would be things like sort of e-newsletter templates or just listed flyers, we've got a number of different pre-designed templates for you, and you just pop in your photos and your information, again changing your hyperlink. To pop in photos to an email, let me actually go back and find you the original template of this, because this is a customized version. Let's go find just listed eFlyer 1. Here it is. And so, just listed, you might, put in your address. You're going to want to put in wherever you see these X's. That's your opportunity to customize. You can customize this entire section with additional text or additional images. When you want to insert images into an email, and this applies whether you're editing a template or whether you're just adding photos, images into an email, you would want to, when you're editing a template, you click on the space where you're going to insert that photo, and you're going to go to the toolbar above and click Insert Image. This uploads the image to the image manager and gives it a web address, as you can see down here. So every image in this library has a web address, which means when someone receives it in their email, there's somewhere for it to map back to, and you don't end up with those little squares with the X's through them that are a broken image link, right? That's frustrating. You're like, oh, there should be an image here, but it's not here. And you never want to send out something, especially something like a just listed and say, look at this beautiful property, and have them go, where the heck are the photos? So easy to insert images. You can change the size of those images. So don't feel like you have to change the size of your images and save them that way before you upload them. You can change the width and height once they're loaded into the system. I would recommend actually only changing one or the other, because you don't want it to skew your image and sort of shrink it in proportions that don't make sense for the image, either width or height, and then the opposite, the other direction will change automatically. And we can just simply insert our photo into the, let me see here. Let's see, 4 Patrick Street here looks pretty nice. And we'll insert that into the copy. So same thing would apply to these other photos, any other property description details. If you were hyperlinking to, say, a virtual tour, your website, you would use the little hyperlink button, and you can literally just copy and paste that web address. It's a great idea to have it open in a new window, because then the person still has their email open in a separate tab. So what it will do is it'll just open a separate tab or separate window, and keeps your email open, so they can always go back to it. You can create your own custom templates, whether you want to do that by creating a table and making sure that everything's laid out sort of the way this one is. There's a table in here to keep everything laid out in a format specifically, or you can simply just create a new email and start from blank. And you can insert text, images, and so on into this blank template. Again, using a table will create, so that format, so that things don't end up shifting around in the email where you might not want them to. And same thing, you can insert images, hyperlinks, text. You don't have to include the salutation, the greeting at the top of the email, because the system will do that for you. So you have this little email letter salutation include, and the system will automatically include, Dear Peter, at the top of each email for every person that you're sending it out to. Now, if you are wanting to send an email right now, you would just, once you've created your email, you'd make sure this says send now and just click send, and that will send your email right now. It's going to push it into the mass email server and then send it out. If you want to schedule your email for a future date, perhaps you're working on this, in the evening, your just listed flyer, and you want it to go out first thing tomorrow morning, or first thing Friday morning. You can pick the date and time that this should go out on, and then schedule the email. And when you schedule the email, it means that it will send it at the date and time that you've chosen rather than immediately. So you do have the ability to schedule your mass emails for future dates. Let me just see what questions we have. And I think we've gone over most of them. Some of them I'm going to send you back to support just for any assistance with those specific items. When you're creating tables, you can change the size of the field for the table. I see Vijay, you had asked about adjusting the size of the table. So yeah, you absolutely can adjust the size of the table. Basically, it'll automatically size to the image or the text that you put into it, but you will, you do have the ability to change the specific size of it as well, right? Whether it's just by pressing enter and creating a size, or whether it's by specifying an actual dimension, you do have the ability to do that within the table creator. I'm not going to get into it too deeply today because we're getting into some technical stuff, and we want to have room for a little bit more of the emailing. The next thing I'm going to jump over into is our activity plan emails, and just going into those and how to create them. You will notice, if you're looking at the email templates in the mass email section, you can actually sort by category again to activity plans. And every one of these emails that's pre-saved has already been written and is already saved as part of an activity plan. It's already scheduled as part of a drip campaign. There's 175-ish different templates that are already part of a plan and have been scheduled into that plan. The activity plans have been pre-created and pre-scheduled for certain types of contact. And this is where we get into things like, long-term buyer, first-time buyer, hot prospect seller, and so on. So you're choosing the appropriate campaign, and you can edit any of the content or the scheduling of your drip campaigns. We call them marketing plans, but essentially they're drip email campaigns. They're marketing plans because in addition to, if I look at one of the plans here, in addition to the automatic send emails, you can have things like to-dos, like phone call reminders built right into the plan. So you could have a reminder to send a postcard. You could have a reminder to send a handwritten note, and so on. So it's marketing overall, not just drip email. So it's a little more robust than just creating something in an email platform. Each of these emails is pre-scheduled. You can see, we have it 7 days, 37 days, 67 days for a phone call reminder, and then 97 days for the next email, and so on. You can change the frequency by going to the description and just changing, whether you use the calendar or whether you say, I want this to go out 3 days after I assign the plan, or 1 day, or whatever the case may be. You can customize those. You also can preview and customize the emails. Now, the way we've designed these emails is on purpose. There's been, there's method to the madness. The emails are text for the most part, and the reason is it's meant to look like a personal note from you. So, the content is pretty evergreen. There's not content in here that is specific to a region or specific to some, a specific circumstance, and so on. It is evergreen. So they're not things that you have to review on a regular basis. You can be confident that the information you're sending is still going to be relevant when you're sending it, 6 months, a year, even 2 years from now. So you can continually assign these to new contacts. You can, of course, always add things, right? If you want to add something that is more local, if you want to add something that is an image or a video, you can absolutely do that to the email plans. You can either do it here in just the little customize window, or where we saw all the email templates in mass email, you can customize there in mass email, and that will automatically carry over to these templates if you're just saving over top. So again, great ways to customize these, but there is a ton of content that's already available. And then sometimes it's just a matter of previewing and customizing. I do know a lot of our customers use these as is after just sort of giving it a quick little read through. As you can see, just content that is evergreen, that's relevant to this one in particular, a first-time home buyer. So you might choose to assign this to, maybe you met Daniela, and she said, yeah, we were supposed to get married this summer, but we've had to push it out till next spring, and we're going to want to start a family right away, but we don't want to necessarily raise that family in our condo. We're going to want something with a backyard. But realistically, they're not next spring. They're probably at the earliest next fall to start looking, right? So this is one of those long-term prospects that you need to stay in touch with. And you can simply go to the Keep in Touch tab on Daniela's contact record, assign that 2-year first-time buyer currently renting plan, and add them to that plan. And it's just going to automatically trickle those little emails to you. As we discussed earlier a moment ago, if you don't want to send something too close to a holiday, you can change the date for that specific email. So you may choose to send this like on the 30th of December and so on. So just, check your dates, make sure that they're not falling on any holidays that you're not comfortable sending out on. The 23rd of December is not terrible, but you might want to, push it forward so that it's going the 15th and so on. So you can adjust those dates. Just give it a quick read through. And then when you assign the plan, those emails will automatically send. On the subject of assigning activity plans, this is how you assign an activity plan to one specific contact. If we were looking at list view, like we were earlier, you can assign multiple contacts to an activity plan at the same time. So especially if you went to an open house and you met more than one Daniela, right? More than one first-time buyer that's, a ways out before they make their decision, you might assign them all to that same first-time buyer plan. And if you have leads coming into the system, I'm going to the user profile here under lead capture, you can have your leads automatically assigned to a drip campaign. The system will do it for you. If you're using the IXACT Contact website, it will look something like this, where you have all the different forms that the IXACT Contact website includes: general, buyer, seller, free home evaluation, all those different forms. And you can choose which different marketing campaigns should be assigned based on which form was filled out. So you can see the general form has a high touch generic lead capture plan, because we don't know yet if this person is a buyer or seller. For the buyer, we have a buyer plan. For the seller, we have a seller plan. And for the home evaluation, we make the assumption again that if they want a home evaluation, they're a seller. So the system is automatically assigning that campaign for you, and the emails will automatically go out. They're gonna pop up as a new lead in your Keep in Touch coach and in your business pipeline, so that you can be following up with them, but they're already starting to receive this drip email from you. If you're not using the IXACT Contact website, you can still have your leads automatically captured into IXACT Contact. If you haven't done it already, there's a lead capture email here. And again, we are in user profile under lead capture tab. And you scroll down to where you see lead capture email. There's a little checkbox. Turn it on. This email address is unique to your account. Everybody has a different I number. And when you put this email address in the back end of your website, right? Send it to your website person, or if you have access to the back end of your website somewhere, there's a lead notification email. Where do you want notifications of new leads to go? You're going to send them to this email address, which then sends them to the CRM, where a contact record is created. You still get a notification automatically. And in IXACT Contact, the default is that you get an email notification of a new lead. You can also put in your phone number and receive a text message whenever you get a new lead. So just getting that notification to you as quickly as possible so you can action it, right? And we all know what the stats are. Who gets the client, right, is most likely the agent that followed up the fastest. So pretty quick and easy ways to get those leads to yourself, to have some content going out to them immediately, including an autoresponder. And that autoresponder can be both email and or text message. The text message requires you to subscribe to our text messaging service, because it is sending it through a mass text server. You don't have to subscribe to mass text. You can just have the email autoresponder going out. Really up to you how you want to target your marketing. On the subject of text marketing, I'll just touch on it quickly, because I don't want to get too deep into it today. Again, it's one of those things where you could do a whole webinar on some of the bells and whistles of the marketing side of things. Mass text marketing allows you to send mass text messages, similar to how you can send mass emails. So you can choose a group of contacts, and as long as their phone number is designated as mobile, you can send them a text message. So you could send a mass message inviting all of your hot buyer prospects to view your virtual open house, right? You could send all of your hot seller prospects an invitation for a free home evaluation, right? However you're wanting to communicate with them, something specific. That's where we've seen agents having the most success. The texting service is an add-on. It starts at $5 a month, and that is your phone number. So you do have a dedicated texting number. You choose an area code that's local to you, and then choose a phone number that corresponds to it. You're linking it to your own phone number. So even though you're sending the text messages through the CRM and through the mass texting service, when you do receive a response, it comes to your phone as well as to the CRM. So you don't have to be in front of your computer to read your message responses. They will come to your phone. You get 100 credits with that phone number for $5, and you can purchase additional credits as needed. The most common package actually is our lowest, which is the $15 a month at 500 credits. So for $20 a month, you're getting 600 mass messages, 600 text messages. So that would be, one message to 600 people, 2 messages to 300 people each, and so on. You get where I'm going here. So it just depends how you break it down. You can always purchase more if needed. Any credits that you do purchase that you don't use get carried over and added to your reset of the 100 the next month. So I think that covers the texting side of things. I know there's always a lot of questions around texting, just because it's challenging, right? Most of us think, well, that's a great idea. Everybody opens their text messages, and yeah, text messages have virtually 100% open rate. They're a great way to connect, and it's just how you use it, right? Because if you start mass blasting your texts, then it becomes kind of like mass email, and they start getting ignored. But if you're sending quick little 1 and 2 liners, that are targeted messaging to the people you're sending it to, there's huge value there. And just, being strategic about it, playing with it a bit, making sure that it, however it works for you. I will say this, because the person probably doesn't have your phone number saved, and they certainly don't have your custom texting number saved, introduce yourself. Just say, hey, it's me, Mark, your friendly neighborhood realtor. I thought this would be interesting to you. Here's the thought, look forward to chatting with you, whatever your message actually is, but just tell them who you are. And I know the question often comes up, well, you're sending it from this number that's not my number. And that's true. But frankly, if you think about it, how many of your prospects have your actual cell phone number saved, right? So, sort of it's twofold. No, it's not your number, but it is a local number. And as long as you're introducing yourself, I would say the same thing if you were sending messages right from your phone. Introduce yourself, right? Because otherwise it's just a phone number on your. I received a text message earlier today with information that's relevant to me, and somebody that I feel like I should know, but I don't have their phone number saved in my phone. So I had to say, I'm sorry, who is this? So always remember to just, especially if it's your first time texting someone or a group of people, make sure you tell them who you are, because that's sort of the catch to it, is the person has to know who you are before that message is really relevant. I'm going to move on from the texting side of things, and we've talked about activity plans. A lot of you had asked about the social media piece, and there's 2 different social media pieces in IXACT Contact. The one I'm going to dive a little deeper into is social media marketing, which is setting up Social Stream, but I will just quickly touch on, and I think it was under Andrew here. Yep. Nope, not under Andrew. This is Sal. Yeah. So under Sal here, we've got this lovely photo of the main contact. Well, where did that come from? And what is social intelligence? Social intelligence is a service that links a database of social media profile information to the CRM, and it's based on the email address. So email address on file, then pulls up any social media information it can find. This is our good friend Julio, one of our sales reps who's on the call answering your questions today. Then everybody knows what he looks like. And it gives whatever link it can find to social media profile information on file. So it pulls back whatever it can find, photo, bio, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever. So that's the social intelligence piece of it. It is, of course, contingent on A, this email address having a social media profile associated with it, and B, that social media profile having something that is publicly visible, right? And with so many people locking their stuff down to private settings, you won't get results for everybody, but it's a fun little tool just to get some insight into who your prospects and your clients are. It also gives you the opportunity to click through, go to their profile, invite them to like your business page, right? If it's a Facebook profile. So just ways that you can use this to interact at a different level. The other piece of social media that Exact Contact offers is called Social Stream. And Social Stream does have an additional cost. Your first 30 days are free though. So I encourage you, if you haven't taken a look at Social Stream yet, take the 30 days and see if it works for you. Try it out. Give it a test. After 30 days, it's just $20 a month, and you're getting access to content that social media content's a pain in the butt, right? I wish I was in a room and I could say show of hands, how many people have trouble finding social media content and posting things that are relevant to your Facebook business page? Everybody's hand would go up just because it's tedious. Social Stream helps with that. And it's not taking the place of posting listings and posting things that are hyper local. You can do that, right? And you should still be posting those organic things to your social media. What Social Stream does is it fills the gap of having more general interest content in between you posting listings. If you just post listing, and local, it's hard to follow, right? But having more sort of general interest, sort of more globalized type content does gives you the benefit of engaging people, sort of like the e-newsletter content, right? It's positioning you as an expert in all things home ownership. So when you're setting up the Social Stream, it'll have this little get started doodad initially. And what you do is, and some of this will be pulled over automatically from your Exact Contact account, it will pull over your name, your email address, your photo if you've uploaded one to the email header, or you can upload one yourself. You can add a title, designations, your MLS ID if that's relevant, and so on. You also upload your brand. So this would be your company name if you've got a slogan that you use, and your logo. And then you connect it to your social media profiles. It posts to Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. It does not post to Instagram. Instagram does not have some of the functionality required for Social Stream, and I'll show you why in a minute. You have to be able to click on the article and that's a hyperlink to go somewhere else, and Instagram just doesn't have that functionality. You can't even put a hyperlink in the comments in Instagram. It's not part of their platform. So because this is linking to content off site, it's just not compatible with Instagram, with the way Instagram functions today. So what you do is you turn on, like, okay, I want it to connect to my Facebook. It'll ask you to log in to your Facebook. I can continue as me. And what I should be able to do now is see my profile. Oh, it may not let me because I think I'm turned on another site. But what it would do is it would give you your profiles, and it would also show you the business page. Social Stream will only post to your Facebook business page. That's a Facebook limitation. So do make sure you have a Facebook business page in place. You can also turn on your Twitter and your LinkedIn. It will just ask you for your login information. It asks you for security, that, social connects. You may have to reconnect it every couple months, and it'll notify you when things get disconnected by email. So just giving you that heads up, and that's a social security thing put in place by those social media profiles. You then choose, how often do I want to post? You can post up to 3 times a day, 7 days a week. So be strategic. If you know that you always post things on, Monday mornings and Wednesday afternoons, and again on Friday mornings, then post in between, right? You don't want to have all your posting going at the same time. You also choose which publications, and you can choose to include as many of these as you want to. I would suggest the broader the better, because obviously the more narrow you get, the less content that's available. And you can also, in some of the settings in the back end of the system, not here in the wizard, but you can choose how old the articles are. The default is it's set to no older than 30 days, but you could bring that up to 15 days. You could also take it back to 90 days, just content that's relevant. And you choose your topics, include or exclude, depending on, maybe I don't want to talk about baby boomers, maybe I do, etc. And then the system will automatically post for you. When it posts to your social media, it looks something like this. And when I click on it, I go to a landing page with that branding you just set up, and a pop-up form with the same branding asks for the person's email address. These leads go directly back into the CRM, and you will find them using the search and original source social stream. The system automatically creates that original source and tags it for you. So you can say, the person could say no thanks, but if they fill it out, then you're just engaging. Again, if the person was only following you on social media or only saw your post, now you have their email address and they're going to start receiving things like your monthly email newsletter. You might reach out to them, and sign them to a drip campaign once you find out a little bit more about them. So giving you that opportunity to engage that much further. And again, it didn't take me all the way to the Globe and Mail's website. It took me to a landing page with the article on it. Some publishers are more generous than others. I have seen Globe and Mail articles where the full article is available on the landing page. This one is not. A lot of the publications are paid subscription to be able to get access to that content. And even if they click through to read full article, they're still able to access the article without subscribing. So we're getting a huge value out of the $20 a month for Social Stream by not only providing the content, but also they're providing the lead capture and the ability for you to follow up and track those leads. So I know there's a lot of information about the social stream and lead capture and so on. Just like any lead captured into the system, you would get a notification that someone has filled out the lead capture form, that you have a new lead, and then can follow up on it quickly, because it's notifying you just like it does with all leads added to the system. So a great option. Again, if you haven't started using Social Stream yet, you've got 30 days free. So you can set up the whole thing and see if it works for you. Make sure you like the content, you like when it's posting, play around with it, and then you can always and then you can just continue on with the paid subscription. There's no you're not stuck with it if you do subscribe. Just like everything else with IXACT Contact, there's no contract. It is month to month, and you can always turn off your social stream at any time. Any other questions about Social Stream before I pop on to the next thing? Okay. Yeah, and I see a couple of you asking questions that are more specific to your account. If there is something specific to your account that I'm not able to speak to today because obviously I can't see it, then just give us a call afterwards. And if our sales team can't help you, our support team certainly can, and we'll get you over to them. I do see a couple of questions that are just sort of more specific to your own account, but I'll speak to it quickly. Things like search. If you're searching and there's no names here, it probably means there's no names on the contact record, but you should still be able to click through. It may mean that you just have the email address, right? Because that often happens, especially if you've synced with Google and you're pulling contacts in from your Google contact list where you just have the email. You may have to go through the list and just update to add the names to the contact list. And whoops, that's not the thing I wanted to click on. I wanted to click on here. So I think we've touched on a ton of things today. Getting yourself organized is step number one, right? Getting your business organized in a way that you can then search and view and work through things like your keep in touch coach with automated reminders, making sure no one ever falls through the cracks, staying top of mind with birthday and move-in anniversary e-cards, sending relevant information with things like a monthly e-newsletter and the drip email campaigns. It's just gonna, as you stay top of mind, it positions you as that expert in all things, not just real estate, but home ownership. And as you position yourself in that expert, as that expert, people are more likely to come back to you, right? So it's not necessarily about having the biggest database or generating the most leads or getting the most leads. It's getting the most out of the list that you have, right? You're always going to be adding people, but at what speed and what volume really depends on your business. And we know a lot of realtors that do 90% of their business is referrals and repeats. People that bought their first starter home and then they upgraded and now they're ready to downgrade again. And in between they sent 3 family members and their oldest child, and so on. But if you don't stay in touch with those important referral sources, then they're not going to bring that value back to your business. So it really is about generating not just business, but ongoing long-term relationships. And your CRM helps you do that through keeping you organized, sending out communications on your behalf, and making sure that you have those reminders so that no one falls through the cracks, regardless of whether they're a hot prospect, a long-term prospect, and so on. So again, so much to cover in the system in an hour. For those of you that are just getting started, or if you had specific questions, we do have a huge library of tutorial videos. And actually, if you go to the help guide, which is the little help button up here in the top corner, you can click on tutorial videos. And the tutorial videos are videos that are broken down into different sections. So again, if you were looking at, how did you set up that monthly e-newsletter? And we have a short little video just about that specifically, or setting up text marketing or setting up social stream. We've broken them down into short little videos, so you won't have to watch, a huge hour-long webinar just to get to the key items that you need assistance with. So all of that's included in the help guide and the tutorial videos. So great resources for you. You can also, if you're more of a, want to read the help guide, you can search for something in that online help guide rather than using the tutorials. There's ongoing webinars like this one. There's different ebooks with just sort of tips and best practices, all available on our agent resources page of our website. And support is unlimited. So don't feel like you can't call support. I will say, if there's an item from today that you really want assistance with, just bear in mind that if we all get off the webinar and we all call support at the same time, you may be on the phone just waiting for them for a moment to get through the the increase just from everybody jumping off this webinar. But support's happy to help. There's also chat support as well as phone support, or you can just email them. And all emails are answered within typically one business day. So we're pretty fast about getting back to people on support. I also want to mention, just because all of you are customers, and I know you're working hard to get your system set up, and not everyone knows about our referral program. And our referral program means that if you refer a colleague and they become a paying subscriber, so they have their free trial and then they become a paying subscriber, you earn 2 free months for every one of your colleagues that you refer. So if you're loving IXACT Contact, if you love the support, if you love the features, and you've got colleagues that are saying, what are you using for your CRM? If you recommend IXACT Contact, we will reward you with 2 months free. On the sign-up form, you just have to let them know. You'll see a little how you heard about us box, and when you put in referred, they'll be able to enter your name. If you do refer someone and you're not sure that they've entered your name, just shoot us an email, and we'd be happy to double check for you. So just a little bit about our referral program. And before I sign off, I want to say thank you. I do appreciate your feedback. We're doing more and more customer webinars than ever before, and we want to know, what your feedback is. So please do stick around and complete the survey that will pop up after the webinar ends. And of course, we will be sending out sort of an email rather with the link to the recording after the live session today. So thank you all again. If we didn't get to your question, if it was a support question, we'll direct it to support and somebody will follow up with you, or a member of the sales team will reach out if it's something that we feel we can help you with. Again, thank you so much, and look forward to your feedback in the survey. Have a great afternoon, everyone.